For the love. It's for the love of the people, baby.
Hate that.
All right. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's your boy Jarrell T.G for part 2 of For the Love podcast, special Black Love edition for the month of February. And of course, I still got my brothers here with me. We got Neko and Avery, and we're gonna hop right back into it. We ain't even gonna take no time. We're gonna hop back into it. As y'all see, this episode is called I'm a Good Dude. Mm-hmm. Now, as what I deem as upstanding young black men sitting before me today, we've heard and maybe even uttered that statement a time or two, right? So when we think about that, I'm a good dude, that's such a murky water to be swimming in, right? Because for one, what does that even mean anymore? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I feel like it's perception, it's reality, and then it's whatever that is in between, right? That I feel like where most of us are kind of floating in, the quote unquote good dude. So when you hear good dude or somebody call you a good dude or they perceive you to be a good dude, what is the thing that you think stick out in your mind the most, or you think that they're alluding to when they use that statement?
So I'll just say it from my perspective, you know, as far as when I say it. And sometimes I try not to say it because, well, I ain't gonna lie.
It's a buzzword.
I still say it.
It's a buzzword.
I ain't gonna lie. But I guess I try not to say it only because I've heard some women say, hey, yeah, you're a good dude. You ain't even gotta say you're a good dude. You know, but I sometimes, it just comes off. It just naturally flows off the mouth sometimes. And I'm like, man, because when I'm in conversation, especially with women, because I think for me it's just naturally. Now, I'm a church boy. I say that, you know, I had that upbringing, but I'm like I'm real, like I'm like one of them, like. And it's funny because I've even been called a church boy. People will call me that even not even like having a full conversation with me. That's crazy. I've met people who just look at me and be like, yeah, what you about to go to Bible study?
And
they try to join
me.
And
in the negative connotation, not to say that I've always gotten that, because my relationship with God was kind of, I would say, unorthodox. Mm-hmm. It grew from an unorthodox place, but when you hear church dude, like, or when you hear church boy or something like that, it never is like, oh, he's just a good man who know the Lord. Like, it's never that. It's never that. It seems to have a negative connotation.
It was something, you know, something to get teased about growing up. Fact. Especially because now growing up in middle school and then high school, I don't know about elementary, but middle school and high school, definitely all of the girls wanted a hood nigga, bad. I want a bad boy. I want a, you know what I'm saying? That's when, like, I know y'all hip hop heads, so y'all know all of the Lil Wayne's mixtapes was out. Drought, Jones, where he, you know, had all the freestyles and everything. But Wayne was hot. So any dude, I mean, they wanted all the dudes with, you know what I'm saying, who kind of resemble Wayne in a sense, you know what I mean? And I was just a kid who just cut my hair. I had braids and cornrows and everything. Cut my hair and I got the curly hair. You take a curly hair? What is that? You know, ain't nobody on here curly hair except for B5.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You know.
I do.
Yeah, it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so it was and I promise you, I gotta say this because since I said B5, and this is really random, but I remember it was in middle school, 7th grade. Never forget it. It was this new dude. He was just like rapping. And he was rapping, and I went up there. I don't know what made me want to go up against him. And I was like, I went up against him like to battle or some 8 Mile stuff. And I was like, this nigga said some little line that like got everybody, oh, and I just had to walk home because it was over. Because he was like, you look like B5. I cut you with 5 knives. Ooh. And I was like, all right, fam. But like, needless to say, I went back there the next day. I'm like one of the little weird kids. I went back home. I went in my room, had a whole.
Oh yeah, you gonna
wrote. I came back to this thing. Like, oh, you got a paper.
You said B5. I'm B-Rabbit now.
Paper.
What you mean?
Yeah, but nah. So basically, man, like for me, it took me a long time to just embrace the fact that I was a genuinely good guy. because there were even times in my early 13, 14, maybe 15 years old where I tried to be a bad guy. Like I got cousins, got family, got friends who know about the hood, who been did some things here and there, and I realized a lot of girls in the generation around that time, they liked the dudes who got in trouble. Facts. I got a piece that I did perform. I think it starts off. Girls always had a thing for the niggas who would get in trouble, get bad grades, and skip school. So I tried it, but it never felt right. It never felt like me. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was true. Like they like, the niggas who would get expelled, suspended, fighting, this and that, bye, all that. And I was like, what do I don't know. I try to do that, and I try to be like my older cousin. You know what I'm saying? I try to talk like that. I try to switch. I don't know how to. What's good? What's up with you though, Sean? Like, what's good though?
Right,
nah, man. Like, I try to switch up everything.
Swag on there,
but it took me like a long time, and then like around college, to finally just say, yo, you are just genuinely nice. Like people, it's just, you can't hide that. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to y'all earlier in the other session with the podcast, talking about how like y'all talk about how much I love and how much I show love. I can't hide that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so to me, the whole church boy, you a good boy, you a good guy, you a good dude, you a gentleman, all of that. I just said, you know what? I'm gonna embrace it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna embrace the fact that I just love women. I love the love. I love shower you with love, and it might be to my detriment, but that's just who I am. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like some people just don't. Some people like, man, I'm a toxic ass nigga, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I got man, fuck that bitch, dog. I got a couple Jones on the line. You know what I mean? And I just can't. I can't do that. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have the energy to do that. I'll slip up. Like, listen, I can't cheat. Listen, I can't even lie. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say I'm a good dude. Like, when I tell a woman I'm a good dude, I really am, because you gonna know if I'm lying. You gonna know if I'm lying. You know what I'm saying? so I'm like I'm so much of a good dude that I embrace the fact that at times I could be corny. Yeah. At times I could be a little weird. At times I could just be, I could be like that uncle, or that, I'm a goddad. I could be that that play
with the kids,
all of that.
Joking.
But that's who I am, and I embrace it now. You know what I'm saying? So that's I think that's what just, to me, a good dude is just embracing your morals, embracing the values, that's embracing loving on women and loving on your guys, man. So, showing people support and embracing that, like embracing the fact. And I said this, there's a post I put a few different times, embracing smiling in pictures. I posted, it's like, bro, I remember taking headshots as an actor. So many people told me to smile. I didn't smile because I felt like in our culture, especially in our black community, dudes ain't supposed to smile. You ain't smile. You get looked at as soft, or you sensitive, or even you might be, you gay if you smile in a picture. You know what I'm saying? Or,
dang, my joy has now made me homosexual.
Exactly, right? Exactly. It's like, even if you in pictures with moms, you know what I'm saying? Moms or family or whoever, it's like, man, I had to get out of that, especially how I look. You know what I'm saying? I got the quote unquote, pretty boy look, curly hair, whatever. Yeah. So it's like, I already quote unquote look gay to some people, or look sensitive or soft to some people. So then if I smile in pictures, it's even worse.
Confirming.
You know what I'm saying? So then but then it took me a long time to even just embrace that and start taking pictures with headshots and smiling, or posting that. So then it's like all of that put together in one. It's like, man, it's just like, I started to embrace the joy, the happiness, the peace, you know what I'm saying, the love. I started to embrace my family, the love. Like, my mom is just on my hip, and I embrace that, I embrace all of that, because I realized a lot of times when people down talked me or bullied me, teased me about all of that, it's simply because they didn't have it. Yeah. Or because they don't have the capacity to have it. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Facts. So that's just me, man.
What you think, Avery?
I mean, I would say I want to make sure everybody remember that, when you hear the term good guy, it's 100% subjective, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what a good guy is to me, you, them, they, it's all based on how they look at it. And because of that first knowledge, it's hard for me to peg somebody as a bad guy. Okay? So, you know, I'll embrace the character of a good guy. You know what I mean? I'll embrace it. I'll say I'm a good guy. I know depending on certain circumstances or experiences I've had with certain people, they might not agree. I say fuck all that, because the thing is, going to you a little bit, Neko, about what you just said. I remember very early I learned. You know, I used to make sure I fit an image based on whatever was popular at the time.
Facts.
You know what I mean? It was like, or not. I ain't even gonna say popular. I'm gonna say what I was supposed to do. You know, we talked a little bit about that last podcast about what I'm supposed to do. This is the steps I'm supposed to take. After a while, I definitely said fuck all that. I was definitely in a situation of like, I gotta do what makes me feel good. I gotta do and be who I believe I'm supposed to be. And in that mindset, I'm a good guy if I'm staying genuine to what I say. That doesn't mean everything I do is a good decision.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And that's sort of where it gets a little shaky, because it's like, you know, you might see a typical, you know, if we're going to switch the sides, a typical bad guy who, you know, dogs women out all the time, or, you know, does I don't even know, you know what I mean? What's stereotypical?
Because I'm not a bad guy, so
I don't know anything about what it is that they, you know what I mean? But you know, you got them, but they take good care of their mother, or they make sure that their kids is always fed. Who are we to say that they a bad guy? You know what I mean?
It's a large matter, like you said, subjectivity. Matter of circumstances, matter of upbringing, it's a lot of factors that go into that idea, good guy, bad guy.
Yeah.
And I feel like to both of y'all points, which I feel like you both iterated, was we had times where we were searching for that true meaning of what our definition of good guy is, because I can recall that same plight. I mean, and you, like you said, my mom is like, that was my go-to for everything, any type of information, which is fortunate and unfortunate for a young black man, because she don't got all the answers, because she don't walk in my shoes. She don't walk in the shoes of a black man in this world today. So, you know, I'm literally like almost, I won't go as far as to say distraught, but really utterly confused. I'm like, yo, what's up with all the girls that, you know, the stereotypical ones that we wanted at the time, which, as we see now, where some of these young ladies are, unfortunately, whatever. But the fact that,
like the way you phrase
that, you know, at that time, you're like the it girls wanting to do, like, how much sense does it make to be a dude that you literally come to school to run from security all day?
Right.
Like, you choosing to come to school to be a disruption to the environment of learning. Like, I was a kid, most people would dub me as a very smart individual. I love to learn, I love to be informed. So even as a child, as a young man, when I was at school, especially in spaces to where it was a teacher that either valued us learning, or it was a subject that was really meaningful to me, I was in there to learn. So the fortune for me was, because I always make this keen distinction, I tested well. Because people used to say, like, oh, you the smart kid, because I was from elementary school, I was in tag, middle school, I was in tag, high school, I was in science and tech. So I was always set apart from everyone else, and you know, as children of God, we are always set apart.
Of course.
But you know, we ain't gonna get into that right now. But I was always set apart, so my learning environment was a little bit different, because I was surrounded by other people who were in that similar scope of wanting to learn, having aspirations to go to college and all of that other stuff. So my learning aspect, but it was the social aspect that in each of those schools, each of those environments, our whole group was looked at like, oh, them the nerds over there, brother. And so even, you know, and I really could care less what the niggas thought, But for the girls, you see the jump that's like she was what we call the comprehensive kids, which was just the regular kids that went to the school that wasn't in the special program. You see a girl that was in comp, like, you just like, dang, she is bad or whatever. Like, yo, what's up? And she not even remotely looking in your direction. Why? Because I'm presented as a good guy, as the smart kid, as the nerd. So that wasn't admirable. And I used to ask my mom, like, yo, why do girls like this? Why do girls like this? And all she used to say was like, that's just now girls, that's just how girls are at this stage of life. When you get older, you'll see that they start transitioning and they're gonna be wanting to do that are successful. And I'm like, and we see now that fortunately, unfortunately,
right.
that's still ain't the case.
Still ain't the case.
That's still ain't the case. But it's the whole idea of where do I fit in and how do I fit in if I'm supposed to fit in? That was the questions that I was asking myself, and I didn't get to that last question until probably like college. Because I feel like college is a space where it's so, and I went to an HBCU, shout out to North Carolina A&T, all my Aggies. But you get to that space, especially at an HBCU, where it's such an eclectic environment of so many different type of black people that you find your niche. And when you begin to do that, you understand like, yo, I wasn't supposed to fit in. Like these were smaller ponds with certain type of fish, but I just wasn't a fish that was meant for that particular pond. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Especially here in this area, because it's such a wide spectrum. You got very, very impoverished black and you got very, very affluent black. So it was such a melting pot. And I had to get to a space where I was like, you know what? I'm who I'm supposed to be, and the people that I'm supposed to be around, the environments that I'm supposed to be a part of, the communities that I'm supposed to be a part of, will embrace who I am. So even when we go back to talk about what we talked about in part one, that authenticity matters. That authenticity matters a lot. Yeah. So from that context, how good or how bad do you feel like that label of good guy played on your journey through relationships and through, you know, love and dating and all of that stuff? How y'all feel like that played?
I feel like for me, so I guess I'll think about whatever. So my last one, right? One of the things that I've learned, we kind of touched on this, you know, off mic, but one of the things that I've learned is that based on my last experience, one of the lessons I take away is that I want a woman who is going to accept all of me, right? Mm-hmm. And like you said, and it was like a post I saw somewhere. It was like, you know, I'm the hero in somebody's book, I'm the villain in somebody else's book. Yeah, you know. So it's like we all are. We're all not like we all are not just 100%. The saviors. Yeah. Like we know we all ain't saving the world. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the anti-hero. I feel like everybody is the anti-hero, believe it or not. Like I was randomly thinking about this earlier. I said I think that there are people who might be perceived as boring or normal, but they're not. That's just what they choose to like. That's just what you might see. Mm-hmm. What you hear, you might not hear them in the shower. You might not hear them when they driving. You might not see them behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? You might not see them when they talking to their mom or their siblings. You also might not see them at a sports event. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think I just thought about this earlier. I said I don't think nobody's born or normal. Mm-hmm. It's just even when somebody says that they're quiet, I don't think that they're really quiet. I just think that they're just very selective
and limited, you know what in what they show people.
And they're like just sitting back and sometimes really it's like they're hurt. Sometimes either they can be hurt or they can just be very experienced in life to be very selective. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, man, like I've learned that like my last relationship, right? Like going back to when I said about the whole church boy thing, right? I'm very well, like I actually got an associate's in biblical studies and like I'm very in tune. Like I love, you know, the word of God and all that, right?
Praise God, brother Neko.
But the thing is, the trick of that is if somebody was to fall in love with just that side of me, and then they might say, oh my gosh, he is such a good man. It's a man of God. Wow, he prays for me. He does this. I seen him raise his hands and worship the Lord and all of that. But they won't. But as soon as
I got a wild side.
But soon as I like, they not gonna. What if they say? What if they judge me because I like to go party? Right.
Right.
What if they judge me because
you be in the go-go like
what if they say? What if they judge me based upon like how I am in traffic, or if I'm because I don't like being late. So if I feel like I'm late,
somebody's gonna get it.
Yo, what are you? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm slow tempered. I
thought you was a man of God.
Remember Galatians? You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, I like, what if is she gonna accept me for the moments where I get a little angry or upset? You know what I'm saying? Like, is she gonna accept me for the moments where it's just like all of these different intricacies about myself.
Yeah.
So like the idea of, to me, a lot of people, I remember in my therapy, my therapist told me, she said, you don't have to show everybody all parts of you. Whoever is close to you, they know, they get access to all parts. They really know you. But other people, if they only, because I used to get mad because going back to getting teased about other things, I used to get mad because other people only, they church boy, but that's because that's all they saw. So they kept teasing me about that. But then what I tried to do is I tried to force them to see other sides of me, when in reality they didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Only people got, like, y'all close to me, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can see it. But for me, it's like, man, like, people, maybe some women might have got turned off, you know what I'm saying? Because because they thought I was just this one way, and they thought I was just good. He's just a good. Now, knowing, like, I love what you just said earlier. It's like, you can still be a good man or a good person and then still make bad decisions. You can still be a good man, a good person, and like, man, money management ain't my
fall short of glory.
You know what I'm saying? Or listen, man, I'm sorry. Look, they got on my nerve. They really pissed me off, man. I'm sorry. I said something I shouldn't have said, but that's still a good person. You know what I'm saying? So that's because we touched on that word good. My therapist helped me out last year to take that out of my vocabulary.
Stop right there. Yeah, I did notice he just said my therapist, meaning that black men can go and get guidance on their mental health and emotional well-being. I just wanted to put that out there because in the 2021, 2020, well, from basically this whole pandemic and moving forward, like, that's been a very strong ideology that I've been growing in, understanding how important mental health and emotional health is to your total makeup. So the fact that you said that, I just wanted to make sure you highlighted it. But yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'm wrapping it up, man. I just think that she told me, she's like, you got to take that out your vocabulary. Because if you call yourself, if we're so focused on being good, then instead of just being who you are.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the idea of being good or being bad or this and that, instead of just being you. Yeah, we spiritual, we freaky, we love, this type of food, we like that type of food, we like the, we were friendly, we're mean, we this, we that, we're all different types of things.
Multifaceted,
you know what I'm saying?
Creatures, as always. And I think that speaks back to the whole thing we talk about, like, black people generically, black people more specifically, black men even more specifically, are not monolithic. We are so complex as individuals that we can't be put into one category in one box and expect you just every aspect of your being to align with all that. So that's real life. That's real life. So what you think, Avery? You cause you talked last week. The part one about being able, monogamy just came natural to you, and it was able to just be up in the space. So what you think about how did the ideology of good dude play into your dating life as a young man?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I don't want to generalize this statement, So I'm not going to generalize it, but I'm going to say it very generally.
I love this dude, man. I love this guy right here, though.
Nah, I think the big difference between good and bad is I felt like once you embrace good guy, once you like, all right, you know the saying nice guys finish last and
Facts.
you know all that derogatory shit, I believe personally, because it's not last for me. I got a lot of life ahead of me, and I ain't finished, but I ain't finished. But I feel like good guys have more of a place to choose than bad guys.
Break that down a little bit.
Let me flesh this out a little bit. So my ideology, man, my experiences, and I used to talk to a bunch of friends and really give them real sound advice about this. But I felt like, and I still feel like, girls have an upward hand in the selection process, because just like what we was just talking about all the girls wanted the bad guy. We saw all those girls that we saw as desirable and what we wanted as off limits because we knew what they wanted. So that was, they got to choose what they wanted. They chose the hood nigga that was trapping out his grandmother's basement. You know what I mean? That's what they chose. They was untouchable. We couldn't go over there and choose because we chose we chose to go where we went. Then you go to the good guy phase of like, all right, let's say before she know you a good guy, y'all start talking, and she start talking about how she craving, I don't want to be stereotypical.
Go ahead.
She start craving hot chips, you know what I mean? And you like...
You know when you got one of them that like the hot chips.
Pull your glasses down. Hot chips.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry, your name ends with an A. You know what I mean? Like, I'll pass. I need someone who plans to go to Harvard. Nah, but I mean, you know what I mean? But like, I felt like once, being a good guy, and then once you embrace, so I feel like it could go the same way with bad guys too. Mm-hmm. Once you embrace who you are and what you intend to be, from your perspective, because it's still subjective. I 100% believe it's subjective. I don't believe what somebody thinks of me is what I am. Right. I believe what I think of me and what I want to put out, that's where I start feeling failure or shame or judgment, is if I don't put out who I know I'm capable of being. Mm-hmm. But when I know I'm a good guy, I know I'm not going to settle for nothing. Ooh. You know what I mean? And I know that if your biggest accomplishment is being with a dude who might got 2,000 but got it illegally, and I know I don't want to do that, because not saying people that do that illegally is bad guys, but knowing that I don't want to do that, I know I don't want to mess with you, because that's not the path those are not the steps that God ordered for my life. You understand? So it's like, I never had an issue with being called the good guy. My issue was when people thought that because I was a good guy, I wouldn't react certain ways. That's where them bad decisions come.
Come on now.
All right, so I didn't make some decisions in my life. I done some things in my life, and were they bad? Who knows? You know what I mean? Depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
For me, it was what was best for my life to move forward. And I think that ultimately embracing who you are. I don't like this good versus bad talk. It's so subjective.
It is.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's hard to really delve into it without offending a party. Because all of us sitting here right now, somebody thinks we're a bad guy somewhere.
Oh yeah. I was about to. That's somewhere. I was about to go off. I was about to go off
somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody thinks we a bad guy somewhere, and somebody thinks we're a good guy somewhere. And just like if we was all ain't shit niggas. Somebody somewhere, you can't tell a mother her son is not shit.
Yeah.
You can't tell a mother, I don't care what that little nigga did.
Right.
Facts.
I don't care what he did.
Facts.
Right.
You cannot tell a mother her son ain't shit. You can't. But your son ain't shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I think ultimately embracing who you is and embracing what you want to put out. Like what we gave you all the flowers for earlier about putting out who you are. Mm-hmm. And that burning feeling you feel, I feel that too. Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel to the point whenever I disrespect somebody ill-intentionally, I do feel guilty somewhat in my own self-conscious. You know what I mean? Whenever I use somebody for a situation ill-intentionally, I do feel guilt for that, and I feel like that's not part of my nature.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
against my nature. It's consciously against my nature, and it hurts me. I think that's what ultimately distinguish a good guy, but there's some crazy motherfuckers out here. So they do shit against their nature, which might be really normal to most people. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
That's
So I value and definitely respect and agree with what both of y'all said. I had a slightly different path in terms of my good guy nature. Because, like I said, based on the environment that I was brought up in, like from my social, because of basically as young people, your social environment is school. So because I was in these special programs, it was like I was surrounded by other good dudes. Yeah. Right? So, but now even within that, there's a spectrum, right? There's the super good dudes that he's striving for valedictorian, and he's not even looking at girls because he's focused on his studies. And then it's like, I just happened to, my big cousin had let me smoke with him that morning, and I had passed this test by some form of events, but I'm really not even, I don't even know how I'm in here. So I'm really over this side hanging with these niggas, but I just happen to be in classes with y'all. And then it was the niggas like me that kind of played the middle, which I found my niche, which was you be the good guy with edge. That's where I found my, not saying, and I'm not even gonna say I found my identity in that, but that is the personality, the nature that I played to that was most beneficial, which we talked about earlier. You can't base your nature, you can't base your identity on what is best received, but what is you truly. Yes. So what happened was, I was the good guy because, like I said, got good grades. I was what I always used to deem PA, which is parentally acceptable. Okay, I like that. When it was never a problem. Like if a girl was like, okay, he can come. Oh yeah, Jarrell, he can come over because he's a good guy, right? But in actuality, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the same way from her, but she was like, this works because I can potentially, he can be around and not be offensive to my situation, but I can still get a little bit of that bad boy nature from him. Right. So even in the spaces of, and like I said, it was largely my environment was constructing my identity as opposed to the other way around. Okay. So falling into that and seeing the success that came with, I played that guy. I played the guy that's like, yeah, I'm very well spoken, and I can go and smile and say, hey, how you doing, Mr. Such and Such and Mrs. Such and Such? Oh yeah, we're just going, and then be being reckless on the other end. So it took me to this day, and I like how you put like even good dudes make bad decisions, because I made a lot of them. I made a lot of them. But what I began to understand about myself was, as you said, it's no one piece of you. It's a bunch of you. Yeah. And when you begin to start breaking down the pieces, where was that desire to be edgy, or that desire to feed into what was expected? What was expected of me? Not as the good guy, but what is expected of me as the black boy that's socially acceptable amongst his peers. Right. That edginess was what I was claiming because that was acceptable. So that goes into the idea of like our security, what women normally call the security. So like even when you talked about earlier, where when you begin to groom yourself to be that person that's going to provide a security for your woman. What they deem security, I simply call ego. Yeah. So what I was doing was using the aspect of my personality that was going to feed my ego the most.
Wow, that's big.
So if I'm a person that, even though I'm a good dude, like I have aspirations. Y'all see all that I'm trying to do right now. You know what I'm saying? Even before I got knee deep into this person that I am, I always was aspirational. I always knew I wanted better than the environment that I saw around me.
Yeah.
But that edgy side was what got me that ego stroke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
because they like, oh, but Jarrell, he da-da-da, or he can do this, or what. So, like, how do you guys feel like you, I guess, first recognized your ego and how your ego played to relationships, and then how did you either play to it or combat it, or what'd you do?
Now, when you say recognize your ego, can you break that down a little more?
So when I say recognize your ego, so for me personally, being that, like I said, I came from a single mother household, so I'm searching actively, and even in some instances, even to this day, actively searching for what I deem my definition of manhood, right? And luckily, I found a girl who was so into God and who God was that she pulled the God out of me.
Yeah.
Because if I was with somebody who didn't have that, who knows who I would be at this point sitting here today.
Hallelujah.
My ego would have probably played the biggest role in the decisions that I made.
Yeah.
But because I had to begin to view myself from not just a man or a male, but like a divine man, I had to like deal with my ego. Like I had to deal with my ego. I had to humble myself in a lot of ways because that shit wasn't gonna work.
You know
so
what?
when I say describing ego, I just mean like that carnal nature that you have for in all instances. I mean, I guess it's like how you want the world to serve you. That's what I feel like your ego is. It's your idea that the world is supposed to serve. It's the self-servitude that a man has by his carnal nature. Like womanizing, whether it's, being super aggressive and super, competitive or whatever, all of that is just feeding to a self-serving nature to want to, have things.
Yeah, I say this, man. I think it actually goes back to what we were just talking about the idea of being good, right? Because for me, I think my ego it ties into that because. So I feel like when I was growing up, so elementary school. I mean, I don't want to say like I was like a cornball and nothing like that. Like I people knew me. I had friends and stuff like that. Like middle school, I was just like somewhat popular and whatnot. And people knew me. 9th grade, 10th grade, people knew me because we all partied at the Go-Go's and stuff like that. But for the most part, right? Like we all know who we talking about. We talking about the women, right? So I feel like older people, older generations, they kind of propped me up a little bit too much, Mike. They was like, they said, "Oh, you're such a this,"
because they picked you out of the bunch.
Oh, you so wow, you're such a good kid, you're such a smart kid.
I don't want to cut you off, but you know why though, right?
Why?
You know why? Because nice guys finish last. Them older women ready to pounce on us.
Hey, man.
Hey, before you recognize that. Before you recognize that, it's a whole thing. And then when you start to really pay, you're like, okay. And especially Neko, I'm sure you've experienced this being a teacher. That's when I really I'm like, oh, so this whole good guy thing to the older women is like because the women of my generation are trash, and I see you trying to be different,
exactly,
quote unquote, be different, try to
So so I didn't I'm not exaggerating because I guess it's my truth, right? So from my generation, right? I didn't really like. I think I fed into all of that, right? And so for a long time, even just like Avery said, it's like I love how hesitant you was about the whole good and bad thing, because and then I go back to what my therapist talked about stop using the word good, because we all have all of. You just you. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't how would you describe yourself, man? You probably gonna find a little bit of everything in me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just my version of it. You know what I mean? And so it took me a long time to admit that, because for a long time I was so caught up in wanting to be nice to everybody, good, kind, all of the nice, pretty little words that you could have, all of that. I wanted everybody to have a good perception about me. I wanted to, and I think that ties into the ego thing, because it was like, oh, you can't say shit about me because look at my reputation.
Yeah.
People know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always the nice guy. I'm always and I think that I fed into that. And going back to what we talked about, how other people got different opinions about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I can say it all day and I can say that. All it takes is that, but deep down inside, that them one or two people, especially one or two girls, somebody might say, listen, man, yes, but you gotta have some better self-control. Yes, but this and that, you humble yourself right now, because And so I think my ego was more so about the fact that, like, for a long time I fed into nice guy. You nice, you good, you sweet, you kind, you are such a helper. Going up to church, it's like, helping in ministries,
right.
helping in different ministries, right? And so it's like
working with kids. That is a big one.
Right.
That's
He loves to serve
and
the Lord.
Kids love you. That's the thing too.
So he loves to serve the Lord. He loves to help out. He's always there when you need him. Even this idea, all these different words in church. Like, he's so faithful. He's so dedicated. He's so committed. And so that's why, honestly, like, the last few years, I pick and choose on when if I'm not available, I'm not available. If I'm physically or not available, cool. But if I'm also mentally or emotionally or even spiritually not available, then I ain't doing it either.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So because before before I did everything and I was always there all the time, was there early, left late all the time, and then that fed into my ego, because it was like, you better. I didn't realize this until later on, but I realized that I think low key, I really was thinking that I was the shit because I was like the nice guy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that was a part of my ego, but then realized until later on, it's like, no, bro, because so many people got ahead of me, or other people got recognized when they didn't show up, or they not as nice as me, or they and I'm like, so it took me a long time to realize that it's like, yo, it's not about you doing things simply because you want to be recognized as the good guy or the nice guy. Just do it because you genuinely want to do it out of kindness, that's just what you want to do in the moment. And so I had to stop trying to almost like showboat my niceness.
Facts.
Showboat my good guyness. You know what I'm saying?
And I got a statement that is completely, like, I 100%, like, you just spoke my life. Because as I said, like, I worked at a school for 6 years, and being one of the only men in there, and being that person, I'm literally, because I understand that this is an important role. People always telling me, like, oh, we value you so much because of the fact that it's not a lot of male role models and and now, because of all of that, and I'm not gonna blame people for congratulating me or speaking life into me because of the space, but that in turn changed my heart posture about why I was doing what I was doing. Because now it wasn't now, when I first started teaching, I'm like, man, I love kids. That may even be somewhat frowned upon for black men, like, because, that you don't see them in them environments because it takes a level of authenticity and a huge amount of vulnerability to not only just work with kids, but for them to be receptive of you. Yeah. So that was where I started. But with all of I even got accolades in my school or whatever, and they always like, hey, Jarrell, we just appreciate blah, blah. But it's like my heart posture about it changed because, like you said, it was no longer about the purpose of what I was doing it for. It was about to ensure that I kept the image that they believed that I was, keeping that image. So, so that I 100% agree. So my question now is, from that realm, do you ever felt like you use other people's perception of you to your advantage?
Absolutely.
Especially with women.
Absolutely. I used it and it worked most of the time.
It be working.
Because
it be working.
like you said, it worked because
that good guys make them guards get dropped a little bit.
It worked because it was halfway truthful. Mm-hmm. So because I could.
You can pull from some.
I can pull from it because it was truthful. But of course we already know.
But
like I said, halfway truthful. Like I said, halfway because.
That's still a lie.
There was still other parts of it that I was hiding. You know what I'm saying? So I used it to my advantage all the time. Especially like using it to get ahead in life. Used it, for jobs, for school, everything, man. And it's like, I already know I'm the guy that did the homework that everybody got mad at. You know what I'm saying? I'm the
that guy. Hey teacher, you didn't collect the homework yet.
I'm the guy. I'm the guy who was like, I'm the guy like as an actor, like when you study in theater, you might had to like put up in college. You got to put up your scenes for class. I'm the guy that's like, man, let's go first. No, I want to go 15th. Like, man, let's go, man. So like, I'm the guy that's like the that don't really care. I'm like, yo, I did the work. I did the work. I want to do it. Cool, let's do it. And whereas like everybody else, I've gotten a lot of people mad at me before because of that. You know what I'm saying? But I used it to my advantage, and it was some negative parts of it too, because I wasn't always truthful. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I wasn't always truthful. That's not really all of me, and then sometimes it's not really me because. I'm gonna stop right here. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you know what I'm saying? I used to lie. I ain't gonna lie. I used to lie. I used to lie sometimes, but I used to try to say it was true because I used to want it to be true. All right, you know what I'm saying?
You know what my issue is with the good guy bad guy thing is. I told myself after my last relationship, I told myself I need a woman who will allow me to grow, because growth is important. Especially our age range, we constantly growing. We are not who we are gonna be for the rest of our lives yet.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And it's hard because it's easy for a girl to say, "Oh, I'm gonna take a bad nigga and I'm gonna turn him good." Where the fuck you think a good nigga goes when he turns something? You know what I mean?
Right.
Where the fuck you think he go? He's gonna grow into something.
Right.
We're still human. We're gonna grow into something. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. I'm not saying it's necessarily better. But it's something, and you gotta allow for that room of growth. You know what I mean?
And I feel like, as the woman that is by your side, she also has to understand what her role is in cultivating whatever that grows into.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Growth is essential to a person. We spoke a lot about school age, right? You know what I mean? Because that's sort of where that good guy, bad guy shit starts.
Yeah,
it's in school.
Because they separate. Because everything is segregated. So it's like, where do you fall and what clique do you got to be a part of and all that? Yeah,
exactly. And that's hella young. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I'm 28. I don't even think I'm a quarter of where I need to be as a person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm still growing. You need to find a person that's going to cultivate, like you said. I like that word. I don't know what it means, but I'm going to use catalyze that word.
both one and the same.
You know what I mean?
They can both be both ring true.
Because that growth, like you said, you know what I mean? You said you lied a couple times. You know what I mean? Lying is part of growth because you experiment.
We all have hormones.
Right, you know what I mean?
Still do.
We experiment. We go through and we see what works for us, what don't work for us. We see what we like, what we don't like. We might be a good guy and decide, you know what? Ultimately, I don't want to be this nigga. You know what I mean?
That's real.
I've had those thoughts. Real. You know what I mean? I had those thoughts.
Only because good guy comes with so much pressure pressure and judgment that you almost want to shake that just so that you can be authentic. You can feel the space to grow, to make mistakes and learn from them. And like I said, it goes back to the same thing. I feel like it all comes from the heart posture, bro. If you and like you talked about conscious, when you go into a space and something happens that then in turn affects your inner thoughts, affects your internal monologue. That means that, hey, this goes against your nature as who you see yourself as, who you see yourself to be, what your identity is, and then you change. Unless you get the opportunity to run into that particular type of space to understand, hey, that probably is the threshold of which I can go to before I start feeling away or I start feeling negatively about the situation. You know, that's always a thing. And so this is my last question about this topic, and then we're gonna kind of do a little wrap up. But okay, so and really ponder on this, because what I said was there's a threshold, right?
Okay, I got it.
There's a threshold. Now, does the type of woman by which we've all admitted to using our good guy to our advantage, does the type of woman who you, for lack of better words, take advantage of with your good guy affect your conscience after the fact? So, for example, let's say you have a good girl that saw you as a good guy, and you use that to your advantage to then get whatever it is you were trying to get from her. We all know what that was. And therefore, because she was a good girl initially, now you feel bad, versus a good girl who a bad girl, quote unquote, you know, and all of these are air quotes because, as Avery said, it's a spectrum. Nobody is in the box, but a quote unquote bad girl fell for your good guy, and you used that to your advantage, got what you wanted, and then felt no type of way because that's just expected of her already. So my question is, was there ever a time, or is there ever a circumstance where the girl in your perception of her changed your conscience about using your good guy to your advantage?
You know what? Go ahead.
I had to save the stuff for the last question. I had to.
You know, honestly, as far as changing my perception, or
does that affect your conscience at all? Like, if she's a good girl versus if she's a stereotypical good girl versus a stereotypical bad girl, your man play in that situation, is your conscience affected based off of the type of girl she's perceived to be?
So I say, okay, so I guess I'm the single guy on the couch, right?
Yeah, because Avery's like, I don't got shit to say.
So I say this, right? In terms of like dating and getting to know people, or you know, just doing all of that, right? I have learned to, because you know, growing up, I was the one that always got dumped or got rejected. The one all the girls told, "Hey, I'm sorry, it's not." You know. So now I'm learning how to do that for myself too. Right. Because realistically, I could have done that before. Like there's some relationships I could have stepped out of before, but I never like being a quitter. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm learning.
We're gonna talk about that on next episode.
All right. So now I'm learning to like just be honest, right? So. You know what? I'm gonna say it, okay? So I'm gonna admit to one of the lies that I've said before. Hey, please. Right? All right, here we go.
School the people.
Dang, this gonna be so wrong, but y'all probably.
Hey, somebody's gonna learn from this though. Somebody's gonna learn from this though.
See, I probably might laugh at this, right? So
or be like, yeah, I did that.
So being an artist, right? And you're around artists, right? Dang, this gonna suck. But we always, like we said, good men make bad choices. You know what I'm saying? So you might around other artists, right? But you also around like women artists, right? I might have lied to them and said that they were good when they was. But they wasn't good.
I was really feeling that piece. Or that piece was so. Or like it touched a special place.
Or like I might have said something like, Okay, so I also have like, you know, y'all know about spiritual gifts, right?
Yeah,
like how
yeah,
like
yeah.
and I was, you know, and spiritual gifts can be like, you know, you can have, like I realized taking a test and talking to people, I have a spiritual gifts of like encouragement. I have a spiritual gift of like, you know,
Exhortation.
Exhortation, right? I use that. Those are the gifts that I abuse that to the most. I can admit that, and I take that, and that's when I incorporate a little lie into it. And I'm a big paragraph texter. I don't do it anymore.
Get you to see the best in yourself. So you don't
all of
look
that
at me.
All of that.
All
right?
you looking at is a reflection.
All of that.
Oh, boy, you better
all of
speak,
that. So I can admit that there were times where
You a dog.
where I would be like, I'll be like, all right, you know, I would literally be like, wow, all right, let's do a quick role play. All right, I'd be like, wow. I just think that like you really got something. Like just I've been listening to you for a while, and I think you got a great voice. You know, you're amazing, man. Your songs, you really be doing it. Like your pen game is strong too. Come on, girl. She'll be like, stop. I'll be like, no, I'm serious, man. So what you doing next week, man? Listen, we gotta work together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All of that, and it's just hype. You know, and I know I had that gift to like props in my ear, so. I abuse that, you know what I'm saying? I've done that a few different times, you know what I'm saying? And there are times I told the truth, I ain't gonna lie. But there's sometimes also where I've used that and I've lied and because, you know, I realized that, you know, also art is sensitive. So it's like if somebody says something, you know, you already know, like, dang, man, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. So for me, I've done that and I put myself in that situation before, but I also, you know, in other situations, I had to be honest and I had to go back. And I'm not saying I'll go back to that person. I might say, I lied. You suck. I ain't say that. I ain't say that. But like, let's say, for instance, like if I'm into talking to somebody, right, and I realized I only liked them for physical, or I only went to them for the physical, or I saw them for something, right? And then over time, you know, I've been praying to God to give me more discernment. So over time, I catch some things. And I'm like, man, I'm not really interested. I've been learning to be more honest and say, you know, hey, I'm not really interested. Hey, it's not a good time for me. Rather than like, you know, doing what you just like, you know, the question what you say is like doing rather than using my whole nice guy egotistical thing and then dragging them along and still being nice to them and still being the paragraph Neko and this and that, still being like loving and caring and exhorting and encouraging and all that and like carrying them on because that's what women need or that's what people need. So I have done that before, but lately I've been trying to do my best to like go back around and have those conversations and say, hey, look, this ain't really, you know, you're really amazing person, but this is really not it, you know. But I've done that too many times, way too many times in my lifetime where it's just, I've just kind of taken advantage of all of the spiritual gifts, all the gifts that I had and just kind of lured people in, you know what I mean? So
I feel that. All right, man. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, man. And of course, y'all, if y'all really feeling these conversations, please let us know and we can continue to making For the Love podcast. I know my brothers is definitely interested in continuing conversations like this because I feel like there's not too many genuine, heartfelt, vulnerable conversations with black men that's out here for y'all to listen to. And I want to, and we want to begin to create that. So to summate, we're going to take from the married perspective, give your final words, any words of advice, your last sentiment for anybody that is married black man, want to be a married black man. What you got to tell them, Avery?
Okay, I will say for all married or wanting to be married black men, you gotta find yourself. I think that marriage is an extremely significant thing, but it's also fragile. And you cannot put pressure on your significant other to be responsible for you and who you think you are, and it's as far as identity is concerned. You know what I mean? And I think you gotta remember that, and you gotta pay attention to your level ups. You gotta pay attention to the different things that level y'all up to the next level. And no matter how far you think you've came, there is another level y'all will go to. So just remember that and embrace it. Don't run from it. Embrace it.
Wise words. Wise words. All right, Neko. Now speak to my single brothers that's out here single and happy and doing their best. What you got to say to them? What you think that was some good advice for them?
I would just say, wow, I like what Avery just said, man. Like, cause I feel like it's best to, going back to everything we just talked about, just be yourself, to be you. Don't try to be good. Don't try to be nice, kind, bad, or don't try to be any one particular thing. Just be you. Just embrace all parts of you. And I would say, just know and trust that the right one for you will be able to embrace all parts of you as well. But overall, enjoy the single. Like, I've never really enjoyed single life until now. I'm finally enjoying it. So I would say enjoy the time that you have now, because once you enjoy your time by yourself, you'll be able to bring somebody along with you, and they can be able to, you can teach them some things, show them some things, and then they can enjoy the time that you've already been enjoying by yourself too. So I say, man, just enjoy your time by yourself, you know, and just continue to just be you.
Man.
And my man Jarrell T.G.
Yes, sir.
Is a seriously committed person in a relationship.
Yes, sir.
Listen,
talk to us, man.
Listen, man.
Tell me.
It's definitely been a journey, bro. It's definitely been a journey. Taking each and every day in full capacity, and understanding that there's growth in each and every day, man. So paying attention, being intentional about each and every day, because I'm sure Avery can attest to that, even in marriage, it's not about, you know, year by year. It's not about decade by decade. It's about each and every day waking up and deciding to try your absolute best to be your most optimum self, and trying to pull the most optimum person out of your partner that you can. So if you and your partner are not both committed to that, and also, you know, embracing the idea that every day ain't going to be perfect. You know, I had to come to terms with that, because the media a lot of times shows us these either super toxic situations or super idealistic situations, and most relationships are neither. They're both. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be prepared for those days that are going to be hardships, because that's what's going to make the relationship at the end of the day. I realized that the relationship isn't really made in those fluffy, you know, all romanticized, all lovey-dovey, fluffy moments. The relationship is really made and really shows itself true in those battles. When you get battle tested and you realize that you got somebody standing by you that's going to be with you regardless of what the situation is. So I say, if you got somebody that's like that, man, what my man Life Jennings said, if you got somebody good, you hold on to it. Absolutely. So I mean, we got Deacon Collins here.
Yes,
we got Brother Neko here. So this is something different. I haven't done this on the podcast yet, but can we play out? I want to play this out, man. Can we do that?
I'm cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. So, dear Lord, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this gathering and fellowship of black men. Thank you for all of the conversations and the sharing that we've done today. Thank you for the vulnerability and open hearts that we've shown to not only each other, but also to the audience that's watching. I bless every set of eyes that is going to brace this podcast, and I just pray and I hope that one thing throughout this conversation touches the heart of a man, that helps him to better see himself, that touches the heart of a woman that helps her better see the man that she's with or the man that she wants. And I pray that we can continue in these conversations to help move black love forward, because we know that God is love, so wherever love exists, you are there. And we just thank you for this. We just thank you for this platform. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for my brothers us here today. And thank you for the lady of the house, Miss Collins, for allowing us the space to do this. And we just pray that as we continue moving forward in this For the Love of the People content series, and even after that, that people's lives are getting changed and we're touching hearts. So, Lord, we want to continue to do everything and keep you in the midst of it all, and hope it is for your glory and to build your kingdom. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Wow.
Amen. All right, man. So, like I said, this is For the Love podcast. This is just the beginning. We did a 2-part special for February, but if y'all showing us that y'all is really engaged in what we doing and y'all really understanding what this purpose is and y'all is with it, let us know, man. We gonna keep it coming. We gonna keep it coming because we love these conversations and we having these conversations whether it's on camera or not.
Right.
So if y'all want to continue to be a part of it, then please let us know, because we ain't trying to just be doing this for nothing. We know it's with purpose, but y'all, you know, affirmation will be much appreciated. So hit that like button, share with your friends, put it on your Instagram, take your clips out, whatever touched your heart, do all that stuff, man. And when we start seeing that stuff, man, we'll pop out. Send us some different, you know, conversations that y'all wanted to talk about, because I'm sure we'll have a cool perspective on it. But hey, this For the Love. I'm your boy Jarrell T.G. Hey man, y'all wanna go ahead and let them know where they can find y'all at?
Yeah, go first, bro.
Man, what's up, man? Y'all can follow me on all platforms at Neko Ramos, Nekoramos. My stage name is Neko Ramos, Nekoramos.
Hey man, y'all can follow me on Facebook at Avery De La Ghetto Collins. I ain't gonna spell all that. Avery De La Ghetto Collins. And you can follow me on Instagram at AC_rap lyricist.
Swag. And make sure that y'all following at Jarrell T.G. Y'all can also check me out at Into the Griosphere. That's my production company. Follow Rhythm Visions. Follow at Propel Production Center. We got so much stuff coming with that. This is a part of the For the Love of the People content series that's coinciding with the For the Love of the People event series at our newly opened Sloth Wellness Lounge in Fort Washington, Maryland. So make sure y'all, you know, check us out there, man. We like I said, we got so much coming. So y'all just stay tuned. Until next time, blessings and favor. Peace.
For the love. It's for the love of the people, baby.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Lauren Jones with Propel Production Center.
And I'm Jarrell T.G. with the Griosphere Productions.
And we are collaborating to bring you Artful Conductor TV. So make sure you subscribe, you hit that like button, the notification bell, all the other things that YouTube is probably making you do at this point to make sure you're in the know of when we drop new content for you.
Why? Because if you ain't in the know, then it's a no.
I don't know if that's gonna stick. I don't
I'm gonna just leave that because I like that.